Hey everyone, this is Mr. T-Bone81 back with another review. It's been a long time since I've done a review actually. I've just been not really doing any. But I figured this would be a review that would be worth doing. Here we have the Generations Metroplex, the biggest transformer ever. And I got him today from Amazon. They had a very small supply of them. Selling at retail for $125, so I was fortunate enough to catch it at the right time, and I got him today, and he's pretty awesome. So I'm going to just show him off here for you guys, just so you guys can take a look. But this is basically the city mode. A lot of people have been kind of not too happy with this city mode so much. This is it's okay, I would say. I mean, you know, you have this ramp here, just like the G1 version. His arms are pretty much sticking out. He pretty much has the visible fist syndrome going on that a lot of people don't really like. You have like a weapon, a gun here that folds out from his arm that you can display in city mode. Obviously this is his head that has the cannons on the side. It's very much, like I said, it's very much like the G1 version. You have his legs here so Scamper here, you can pretty much just have him in there, and then if you want to just launch him out into the city and roll. This guy's very good with legend size figures. I mean, he's pretty much to scale with legend size figures, so it's pretty cool. If you have a lot of legends figures, then you should have a lot of fun with this guy. You have a helicopter landing pad here, just like on the G1 version. There's these antenna little things here that go up and down, and then actually even on this piece here you can fold out, and then you have some missiles in here. I'll get a little closer look in these so you can see a little bit more of the detail, but this is just kind of giving you an overview of it right now. Basically these are the legs, as you know. Lot of stickers on this guy. It took a little while for me to put all the stickers on. There's about 100 stickers to put on, and some of them are pretty small, so you do have to be very careful with it. But you can see here the ramps that come out from the city mode. But yeah, I mean, that's basically the city mode in a nutshell. Here you have Scamper. Let me just show you guys Scamper so you can see. Really nice little figure Scamper is. I'll show you how to transform him when I get into the robot mode, but there you can see Scamper. Pretty cool. And then here I have just the Legends class Optimus Prime, and so you can see kind of how he just stacks up next to Metroplex. Obviously Metroplex is a very big figure, so pretty cool. So let me give you a little more detail. Hang on a minute. So here you can see Metroplex in his city mode, just a little bit more in detail up close. He does have lights and sounds. It takes 2 AA batteries, and you have to install those, but they do not come with it. And then there's this button here that you push, and then it will make. So it basically alternates in between his sounds, between kind of transformation sounds and vocal sounds actually. So I'll show you those in robot mode more so. But here you can see his city mode is pretty much just him folded down and then his legs spread out. So as you can see, there's some sticker detail there. But pretty cool. Pretty cool. Obviously this is not the mode that most people will be keeping him in. But as you can see there's his one arm with his fist showing, so that's the cannon I was telling you about. And this is just odd. I mean, yeah, this is basically the launching ramp thing, and it works pretty well, I guess. I mean, once you launch it, it will come down here, whatever vehicles do, and it works pretty well that way. So, and then here's his back arm, which is very much like the G1 version. So you have his back arm that folds around the back, and I'll show you how that works later on. But that's just a good overview of the city mode. Alright, so I'm going to show you guys how to transform Metroplex into his vehicle mode from the city mode. So bear with me, this guy's a really big figure. So what you're going to want to do is start out by pushing this gun back and then flipping that back over into his arm. and you want to take the ramp here and just put this away for right now. You're going to take it back out eventually, and then you can close up this missile pod here, flip over the helipad, and that'll just snap in there. Pull the arm around from the back side. Okay, and then just to get it out of the way, I'm just gonna put it up high right now. Same thing with this arm. Okay, so then after that, I'm gonna pull the legs together. Now this part you have to be very careful with, because on the legs there is this black flap here. You want to make sure that it's not flat. You want to take them out of here because it will affect the transformation and you might break these. So you do want to be careful with these. Then what you want to do is just close up the legs. So close them up, just snap into place. Transformation is very similar to the G1. And you do have to just be careful with these because it's basically two folds here that you have to, if you're not careful with it, you may break it on this bend here. And so you do want to be careful with that. Alright, so then what you're going to want to do is you're going to fold these pieces up, and these will just collapse in like that, like so. Those will collapse in like that. And then, this is the tricky part, so you're going to want to rotate his upper torso. Like I said, this is pretty much exactly like the G1 version. So you rotate his upper torso, just like that. And I'm going to have his arms like this right now. And then you're going to want to rotate his legs all the way around to the other side. Oh my gosh, this guy is so big. Okay, so I got one leg. Now I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Forgive me, this guy is incredibly big, so I'm trying to keep him into the camera. Okay. And then what you'll do with these pieces here is you're going to want to fold these back like so. Okay. They're just on hinges, and so you just kind of fold them back like that. And then, okay. And then you'll want to rotate the arms so they're facing back. And rotate this that way now. And the fist, yes, they are still showing, so they do have that visible hand syndrome thing going on. So, and then what you can do is just pull the ramp back out again, have it going down like so, and then you have his shoulder cannon here that you can unfold and go like that. And that is pretty much, oh yeah, so you want to move the legs in and snap them together like that. And that is pretty much his vehicle mode. You can see here he has wheels, so he will roll. Rolls pretty nicely. I mean, it's literally just Metroplex, you know, with his legs folded out and his body up here. So, you know, here if you take a Scamper, you can see that, you know, you can launch off here onto here, and then you can have jets coming flying in and going like so, like this. So, you know, it is what it is. It's a vehicle mode, I guess. Very similar, like I said, to the G1 version, and so you can see how that looks. Really, probably the weakest mode in my opinion for this thing. So, but the real highlight is obviously going to be the robot mode. And so, all right, so I'm gonna show you guys how to. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how to transform him into his robot mode now. This is the part that everybody wants to see. And so he comes packaged in his robot mode, obviously. So just to start out, we're going to flip this gun back up in there and click it in. And then we're going to push the ramp back in. It's a little finicky, but eventually it'll go in there. And then you just close that flap back up. Okay. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to split the legs. So we'll split the legs apart. Fold this up, and it will tab into, or it will snap into a little piece right here that'll hold it in, and then just rotate these pieces, the knee guards up. So do the same on this side, same thing. It'll just snap in there. Okay, and then the knee guards, his feet are already ready to go. So once they're separated, and then you just fold down his legs. Just like that. As you can see, he's really big. And then what you're going to want to do is, these can actually be pushed out, and oh my gosh, I'm so glad they can be, because all the pictures that we have seen thus far have his feet like super close together, and so I'm really glad that his feet can be pushed out like that to give him more of a wider stance. And so I'm going to angle the camera up a little bit just so you can see. So yeah, he's big. Alright, so then you're going to want to fold his arms down. Okay, straighten out his fist. This one is, yeah, straighten out his fist. So these guns here, his shoulder cannons, can actually be pushed in, and then you can actually extend it out as well. So just like that. So I'm going to just extend that one out. And then his head reveal is literally, it just folds back like that, and then there you go. And he has his visor and everything. So and basically there's Metroplex. He does come with these two guns right here that you can be placed, that they can be placed on his shoulders, or you can hold them in his hand. So the way that works is this piece will fold down like that, and then all of his guns have this handle where there's these bridges on both sides, so we can hold it in either hand. And in his hand there is actually a slot that you're not really going to be able to see, but trust me, there's a slot there. And so if you wanted to, you can have him holding any of his weapons in his hand just like so. And so you can do that with any of them. You can do that with his big old cannon gun as well. So here's this one, and the way you would do that is just folding down this gun handle, and as you can see, there's these slots on either side, or pegs, or whatever you want to call them, that will slot into the holes in his hand. But what I like to do with these, and most people might do the same thing, is fold these pieces up on the cannons, and then you can actually peg it onto the side, these side cannons, to give them even bigger shoulder cannons in robot mode. So there you can see those there, which is pretty cool. And then with this gun, you can either put it in his hand, so it slots in the same way as the other guns, and he holds it very nicely. Wait. As I'm saying that, then he totally drops it. Okay, so he holds it very nicely, and it does come with a missile that you can shoot just by pressing this button on the top. So I'll get that later. So he does come with that feature, as well as, if you want, and this is how I probably will have him displayed, if you want, you can fold this up, and then on the back of Metroplex there is a peg or a little hole right here that you can peg his gun into, and so it fits in there very nicely, nice and tight. So you can have his shoulder cannon, and then you can actually articulate that so it comes down like so. And so I mean, that's pretty much Metroplex right there. Like I said, pretty awesome to just have in hand, and he is big, and I'm going to do some size comparisons, so don't worry. But let me just go over the articulation of this guy. This guy has awesome articulation. outside of just these guns. His head just goes all around 360 for the most part. It doesn't quite go 360 because these little pieces will get in the way on the sides, so pretty much can turn his head that much. And then his arms go 360 all the way around, like so. And he has outward shoulder movement, which is very cool. He has a bicep swivel, very loud ratchet, and then ratcheting on his elbows. And then he has a wrist swivel, as well as individual finger articulation. So the thumb is on an individual articulation, or individual has individual articulation, as well as each of these fingers at each of the knuckles, basically at the knuckles here. So you can fold it like this, and they're all individually articulated. So it's pretty cool. So pretty good articulation on the hands. He does have a waist swivel, so that's part of the transformation, obviously. His legs do go front and back. These ratchets are not, they're strong, I mean they hold them up. They're not like Fortress Maximus kind of ratchets, but they are pretty strong. So, and then he can go outward as well as bend at the knee. Whoa, so yeah, see, so he is pretty heavy, so you do have to be pretty careful with him when you're, like, he'll stand just fine when he's straight, but once you bend those knees, he's pretty top heavy, so he will go backwards. And then he does have a thigh swivel as well. So pretty good articulation on this big guy. You can get him into pretty good poses. Obviously, for me, he's mostly just going to stand there like this and just look really nice. So let me show you some of the other features up close on his head, because that's something that people want to see as well. So here you can see just the head on Metroplex. Pretty nice. I mean, it's not completely accurate to the game, Fall of Cybertron, but it's actually, I mean, when you look at it, it's Metroplex. You can tell it's Metroplex. He does have a visor that you can flip up to reveal just a normal face, and to basically get that face back, you can just flip it down, this top part of his head, and then you can get that back. The other thing he does have is articulated eyes, which at first I wasn't sure what that meant, because really when you look at it, it's just, there's nothing there. And so if you go back here and you flip this piece up, you'll see that there's a little red piece here that when you move that will actually articulate the eyes. And so it's kind of interesting. And so, but the only way you can see that is if you flip up the visor, and you can see it when he's talking. And it might be hard to pick up on this thing on my camera because, and so you see his eyes kind of move in there. Let me try again.
Decepticon deactivation commencing.
See, okay, yeah, there you go. You see his eyes moving, which is, yeah, you know, it's articulated eyes, I guess, but really, whatever. I mean, not a huge deal. I like him better with his visor down, anyways. And so, but just to go through the sounds here, what you do is you press this button, and one thing that's really cool is this is a sticker, but if you look in there really closely, you can see that there are Autobots. There's Optimus Prime, RC. You can see Ultra Magnus and Bumblebee on the side there. So it really gives the look of a cockpit that they're controlling Metroplex. And so
Synchronizing initiated.
these are just some of the voice clips that he has.
Target obliterated. These Decepticons scatter like cowards. Kill all are one. Metroplex heeds the call of the last prime.
And I think that's pretty much all of them. So, but there you have it. I mean, that's pretty much it in terms of Metroplex, the robot mode. Let me show you Scamper real fast and transform him for you guys as well. So here's Scamper in his vehicle mode, like I showed you already earlier, and his transformation is really simple. It's pretty much a Legends transformation. So what you're going to want to do is just pull his arms out from his vehicle mode, and then his legs are going to flip around like that. And then what you're going to want to do is pull down his waist, straighten out his legs, because that's what's going to this piece is going to tab into his chest here. So you want to flip around his chest, and then there's a little tab that will tab in there to secure it. So that way his chest is secured. And then just fold his or turn his arms like so, so you can get the elbow bend, and then just do the same thing on this one. And there you have Scamper in his robot mode, and he's pretty cool. He has really good articulation actually for a little guy. I mean, pretty much what Legends class figures have nowadays. So and then you can just take his gun off of his back here, and he can hold that in his hand as well, just like that. And so so there's Scamper. Pretty cool figure. He does have a little bit of head articulation that just turns side to side, especially like on a ball joint, but it's really tight to get in there, and so I have trouble actually turning it myself. But you know, he has ball jointed shoulders and elbows and hips as well as knees, so pretty good articulation for a little guy. And so, and then here he is stacked up next to Metroplex. You can barely see him in the frame, so because Metroplex is so big. But let me do a few size comparisons with Metroplex, since everybody really wants to see that. So first size comparison we're going to start out with is the G1 Metroplex, and as you can see here, you know, G1 Metroplex wasn't necessarily a small figure. He was a good 10 inches or so, but you can see that the Generations Metroplex just towers over him. I mean, G1 Metroplex just basically comes up to his knees, so well over twice the size of the Generation 1 Metroplex. And then for another size comparison, you have him here with Fall of Cybertron Optimus Prime, the deluxe figure, and then the Fall of Cybertron Voyager Grimlock. And so once again, just towers over these guys. I mean, these guys are really just barely up to his shin as a deluxe figure, at least in terms of Optimus Prime. And then a pretty decent sized Voyager figure is just above, you know, almost at his knee. So really big figure, as you can tell. And then here you have him next to the Maki Toys Green Giant. So there you can see Green Giant is a good 12 inches himself almost, or 11 and a half. And so you can see he's only about just a little bit above his knees. So there you go. Alright, and this is what everybody wants to see, is how does Metroplex size up with, well, this is Brave Maximus. My Fortress Maximus is put away right now behind a lot of stuff, so I don't want to get him out. But it's the same mode as Fortress Maximus, and yet, as you can see, Metroplex is bigger than Fortress Maximus, which is what they were saying. It's really only about, if you go head to head, he's probably just slightly bigger. Obviously, if you count the shoulders here, then he's a lot bigger. But just from head to head, looking at each other, their Metroplex is taller by about maybe about a little bit, about an inch or so. So, you know, pretty impressive for sure. Obviously, Brave Maximus here in the, you know, Fortress Maximus, he's got a lot more mass to him. I mean, he's much heavier than Metroplex is by far. You know, a lot more solid. He's got some die cast here, but Metroplex by himself is not a shabby figure at all. There are some things about him that, you know, obviously he's hollow in his legs because of the transformation in the base mode, and then his arms are a little hollow himself, and then these shell cases are hollow too. But all of that has to do because of his alt modes. But still pretty impressive and really cool to look at and see on your shelf. So definitely when these guys start hitting the shelves, make sure you guys pick him up when you can. I'm not sure if he's going to retail for $100. People have heard that, but I got him on Amazon for $125, so definitely worth it for $125. and I have the Takara one on pre-order as well, so I can't wait to see what they do with him in terms of paint jobs. But yeah, so there's my Generations Metroplex figure review that everyone's been wanting to see. So feel free to ask questions, leave comments. I know this wasn't like the greatest review, but I wanted to just kind of show him so everybody could see him in a video. So yeah, feel free to leave comments and ask any questions you might have. So once again, thanks for watching, guys, and I will talk to you guys later.